Now.
Oh. All right. This is Ryan's World, where we explore the world of innovation, and this is episode 2. And today, I wanted to go into the forefront of social media with two of the stars of social media here in New York City. We've got Stephanie Carden and Courtney Spritzer, the owners and founders of SocialFly, which you have to check their book out. We'll talk about that in a second. And new tenants in my building, not my building, really. I wish I owned it.
It is your building. It is Ryan's World.
Technically, it's my building. It should be my building. But you just moved in, you're our neighbors, and you guys are just growing exponentially. You have a great business.
Thank you.
And I think social media, for anyone who's a business owner out there, is just kind of this, I don't know, it's almost like voodoo. I think it's something we're all trying to get our hands on. And I mean, you guys don't even come with a social media background. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how the two of you met and how you started SocialFly?
Sure. So we actually met through a mutual friend who is also an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I actually went to NYU with her, and when I was at NYU, I studied economics, went into finance after I graduated.
Sounds boring. Oh, who would want to be in finance?
No, who would ever want to be in finance? And it was actually while I was at American Express working in corporate finance that I started this business with Stephanie. And we started working nights and weekends on the side of our full-time
So just
jobs.
moonlighting. So
Yes.
where did you get I mean, if you're in corporate finance, I'm just trying to understand this. How
It's
in
a
the
good
world
story.
did you go
Okay.
from corporate finance to,
This was back in 2011, and American Express was forming partnerships with Facebook, Foursquare, and Twitter, and bringing people in from those companies to educate their employees on how you would use these platforms for marketing purposes. So they were doing really cool things for their card members, and they still are. And that's actually what really inspired me.
So you went to one of these meetings, basically?
They had these
social
company-wide
media
conference, like,
Conferences,
conference, a meeting
So
for
you
all
went
the
to check it
employees.
out.
And I was like, oh, this is amazing. And there's so many things that other businesses can do, and they don't even know that they need to do it. And it's not that it's not hard, but Stephanie and I went to school when Facebook was only available to college students. So just by the nature of the generation we grew up in, we have been spending hours and hours of our day on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and from that angle, we were comfortable on these platforms and knew how to use them.
Well, I mean, how did you two meet? How did the light bulb go off? Like, okay, I can make a business out of this.
Oprah aha moment.
Oh yeah, I did. Thank you. So my background, I went to Cornell for hospitality and business management, and right out of school.
Great schools for both of you.
There you
go. Yeah. Fine institutions. Okay.
So I first worked for Marriott doing sales, and then I moved up to New York and was working for Hilton. And while I was there, I actually had a lot of friends who were starting businesses, and because of my background in sales and marketing, they were coming to me asking for help with sales and marketing strategies, and I started telling them, you have to start using social media. This is going to be the way of the future.
How'd you figure that out? I mean,
because it was so obvious. So I was one of the first users of Facebook back when it first started my sophomore year in college, and I was learning all about marketing at Cornell, but I kept saying, this is going to change everything. I just knew I had that foresight to know everything was going to change.
Gut intuition that the internet was going to be the future.
Yes.
I've always I still think it's a fad, and all of a sudden you knew it was the future.
Yeah, you still do? And you're on Facebook Live? We've converted you.
I think our mission for 2017 is to get Ryan on Facebook.
Yeah,
it's a good mission. Do
you think you'll start with Instagram or Facebook, personally?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm overwhelmed already with my choices.
So we're gonna talk about it.
We'll talk about them. Yeah. So so you basically had this.
Yes.
All right, I see this as the future. It's going to be a great way to market my business, basically.
So I started helping friends on the side of my full-time job, putting together these social media strategies. If that's what you want to call it, sure. And they were working. So I was like, wait a second. This is not an after-work activity. This is a real business.
Yeah.
So Courtney and I had met through a mutual friend, as she mentioned, Susie, who's also an entrepreneur. So we became fast friends, and we started talking about this, and we realized very quickly that we both have opposite skill sets. So I would say business tip number 1 for people who want to start a business. Form a business with a business partner who has an opposite skill set.
I like that. Someone complements your skill sets.
Exactly. Then you can divide and conquer, and you don't overlap and do the same thing. So we realized in the beginning I was going to focus on sales and marketing.
Your sales. I can feel the sales.
Sales and marketing. Courtney is going to focus on finance and operations.
Oh, like the American Express background is
I'm the numbers person.
You're the numbers person.
Yes.
So all the things you want to do, Courtney's like, no, can't do that.
Yeah,
let me check
I've been
that.
doing a lot of that.
No, 5 years. Until recently.
Yeah.
We've been redecorating.
You definitely look like that cop. You look like you could play that cop, I think.
Thanks, Ryan.
So that's how we met. That's how we started SocialFly. initially it was just the two of us,
Okay.
and we would get the clients, and Courtney and I would both work on the social media plans and strategies, and then we would sign more clients. Then we hired our first we had one part-time, then we brought her on full-time.
Right.
Then we signed more clients, then brought on another person. So we've really just grown our business organically through doing great work for our clients. They refer us to other people. We're also #1 on Google for social media agency and social media agency NYC, which we've done all through doing our own SEO and social media, which is very important. And that's how we are now your neighbors in this building.
Yeah, and also client ads. So if you see any of our new social media advertisements, things like that, that's compliments of Socialfly. Which, that brings me to my next question. I mean, I know as a business, we're trying to grasp this whole social media thing. You know, we're in finance, which is, we call that an old school business, where, you know, probably a lot of my peers probably aren't as heavy into social media as we've become. I mean, where do you see social media today? What are the opportunities? If I'm a business owner out there and I want to utilize social media for my own business, I mean, what's the future? What are the challenges now? What do you guys see in terms of where social media is going?
I think you definitely need to be realistic and understand that social media does change every single day. So just because you have a plan today, things might change tomorrow, and you have to be willing to adapt and change as everything evolves, because what worked on Facebook last year or yesterday might not be the trends of the future. So being able to be flexible and adapt to change, but also to go in with a plan and a strategy. And if social media isn't your expertise, don't try and do everything yourself, because it's very hard for someone to be great at every single different thing.
So you're saying who's not on Facebook shouldn't go out and do their own strategy.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah, you can read this book.
Yeah. I can. Well, I have read the book, which is great, by the way. Like, love, follow. You need to read it. It's actually a good. Actually, this is a very good.
It's for
simple,
beginners. It's for you.
Yeah, exactly. If you're just trying to break in, but you know what? Let's talk about that for a second. Let's give me a tangible idea of something that used to work that doesn't work now, and maybe a strategy now that you could actually utilize that you think is really beneficial that businesses should start embracing.
It used to be the case time ago that if you accumulated a following on your Facebook page, all of the people that were liking your page would see your content, and you wouldn't have to pay Facebook to get your content seen. Now,
so just if you liked it.
Yes. Now Facebook has become, or it has been for the last few years now, a pay to play platform. So
what does that mean, just for the layman's terms?
That means that if you are going to use Facebook for as part of your marketing strategy, you need to set aside a separate budget to not only produce great content, but to also promote your content on Facebook to a relevant audience. And Facebook has amazing advertising capabilities. You can use Facebook to target people in specific zip codes, you know, by gender, whether or not they are single. Exactly. So that's one tip. And Snapchat. Snapchat is something to pay attention to. It's not relevant at all a few years ago, and now it's something to look at.
Now, I understand. I kind of understand Snapchat. Again, it's dangerous territory for me to be in it all. But from the standpoint of a business, I understand Snapchat as a social thing. Kind of like, you know, Facebook started out more as a social thing, not a business thing. How do you use something like a platform like that? Snapchat with you as a business? I mean, how would you embrace that?
So it depends who your audience is. So if you're looking to reach millennials, Snapchat is definitely a very important platform for your business. But if you're not looking to reach millennials, let's say your target audience is 50 plus, then that's not necessarily the best platform to be on. So just because there's a new emerging platform, it doesn't mean that you have to be on every single platform. Pick the platforms where your audience is, where your customers are as a business, and then put together a strategy on those platforms to reach your target audience.
That makes sense, right. If I'm trying to reach a certain demographic, first thing to figure out where are they, and then you basically want to advertise to them in that segment.
Exactly.
I get that.
Then you have to create content that resonates with those people. So if you're targeting people who are 25 to 35, but you're showing them photos of people who are 60 plus,
it's not going to resonate.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Right. So you need to target it, and then that's something you guys do too. I know you're doing with our firm, is just building the right content for the right audience. Right. That's a real critical part.
Exactly.
Of it. Yeah. And since my show is, well, what we do here at Payne Capital is we do work with other entrepreneurs. We help them with their investments. You guys are, you know, you're doing great with your business. Are you planning for retirement? You know, what are your thoughts about saving and how are you using your business to do that, or maybe you're not doing that?
I think that's something we need to start thinking about. I
Oh,
think
boy.
that it's something it's in the back of our minds. But when you first start a business, especially when you're young and you start a business, that seems so far away.
Right.
And for us, for the past few years, we've really just been in hustle mode, so survival mode, really hustling to get the business up and running and stable. So now is a good time for us to start meeting with you privately.
I wasn't alluding to that. I was saying in general. And what are some of your fears financially? I mean, I know as entrepreneurs, that's the thing. Is first, like, let's just get. I remember the days of, I just want to get to the point where I wasn't using the credit card anymore to run the business, but the cash flow was better than my liabilities. For you guys, I mean, I guess, from that standpoint, is that important to you at this point? Are you starting to think about financial security? I mean, what type of things do you think about as an entrepreneur and really running your business, and what the end goal?
Talk to this one.
Yeah, I should get
well,
right.
I think this is something that you share with a lot of your clients. It really depends on what stage in your life you're in. So for Stephanie, when we first started the business, we were both single, and now Stephanie is married. She's moving into an apartment. She's maybe going to start a family soon. So I think that. These are things in her life that she'll have to start planning for. And of course...
I'm always thinking about it.
But when you're a bachelorette living on the High Line, it's just a whole different world.
Maybe those aren't top of mind.
On that note... and just one... Go ahead, I'm sorry. I didn't interrupt.
I was going to say... I'm just going to say, it's definitely something that we think about in terms of, planning for the future of our business. How much money do we need? How many people are we going to hire? How are we going to cash flow the business? These are all decisions.
Yeah, you're really your headaches in the business.
Yes.
Yeah. And one last question. How many years now has the entrepreneurial journey been for you? How long have you had SocialFly for?
2011, so 5 years.
Yeah. 5 years, half a decade.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And just, if you could both give me just one, maybe, one piece of wisdom that you've learned in the business over the last 5 years in the entrepreneurial journey that you could give to our listeners out there, or watchers, excuse me.
I would say, I have so many pieces of advice, but if I had to pick one...
you can only pick one. Yeah.
You will make so many mistakes along the way.
Yep.
As long as you learn from them and don't repeat those mistakes, they're all okay because it's all part of the process.
Yeah, you're invariably going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Beautifully said. It's just like accept it, but learn from mistakes, don't repeat them.
Can I do one more?
For you, Stephanie. Yeah, of course.
I would say, too, something that's really helped Courtney and I in our business is having an amazing support system of other... Okay, go ahead. I'm going to let Courtney take it.
I'll take that one.
You stole Courtney.
Stephanie and I, basically from day one, we surrounded ourselves with a really great support system of not only friends who are also entrepreneurs, but people who we really, need to start a business. Like we're a great accountant, a great lawyer. Those are two good resources that every entrepreneur needs.
Definitely, and if there's a finance person, that's perfectly said. And I think that's a great point, is realize that other entrepreneurs love to help other entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Like, you're going to help them with my phone system,
as
a conversation we had before
phone
this.
and internet.
Yeah, so phone and internet. So what I do, not only social media. I want to thank both of you coming on the show. That's Courtney Spritzer, Stephanie Carden, SocialFly. Again, they do our social media, amazing. Check them out on the web at www.socialfly.com.
SocialFlyNY.com. And our book is at likelovefollow.com.
Yeah, great book. I've read it. Great way just to immerse yourself in the social media world. Well, this has been episode 2 of Ryan's World. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us, Ryan.
Fun, ladies.
Yeah, we'll come back anytime. We'll come right upstairs.